Right. Where do I even start? Fuck. Well, first off, sorry for swearing. I know my nana watches this YouTube channel quite a bit, and if she would hear me swear, she wouldn't be very happy. So, just going to apologise in advance. If I do swear during this video, it's not coming from a place of hate or anything. It's simply just a form of expression. But yeah, so excuse my French. But also, I didn't want to try and censor anything. I just wanted to try and make this video as raw and as real as possible, because I think nowadays with content on YouTube, I feel like people want something that's just a bit, just plain simple, unedited, you know, real emotion and rawness from a person. Anyway, so I'll get on. Basically, the reason I'm making this vlog is because, well, this is my first ever vlog as well. I thought I'd try it out. I usually don't like having to look into a camera and talk. I find it quite unnatural, but I want to start making more YouTube videos because I enjoy it. You know, I like the process. I like putting stuff up. I like, you know, sort of documenting little things here and there. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Anyway, I wanted to make my first ever vlog because today is the 2nd of March, which marks exactly 6 years of me living in Japan. So I left England on the 1st of March 2020, and it's now 2026. So I've been here for 6 years now, and I thought at that time when I left and I got here, I was 19 years old, and I thought, oh, like, brilliant. Left England now, finished with college, or high school for American viewers. And I left college, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to move to Japan for 6 months. I'm going to move to Japan. You know, wasn't ready to go into uni or anything like that. Not just yet. I had a couple offers for psychology, but I thought, I sat there and I thought about it, and I thought, do I really want to do psychology and like spend years and spend all that money going to uni in a country that I don't really like living in? And I thought, nah. And my mum gave me the nice idea. She said, Robin, why don't you just move out to Japan for 6 months, you know, go spend some time with your grandparents, because I'm half Japanese. For those of you who don't know, my mother's Japanese, my father's English. I was born and raised in Manchester my whole life until I was 19, and then I moved out to Japan. And I thought it'd be a nice opportunity for me to actually bond and connect with my grandparents for the first time, because I'd been to Japan numerous times as a kid on family holidays and stuff. And I'd see my Japanese grandparents, and I loved them, and they loved us. But I could never speak Japanese. Not, you know, even though my mum tried when we were younger to teach us Japanese, me and my brother, we were just way too stubborn. We wouldn't take it seriously. We didn't want to take the time, you know, 20, 30 minutes after we eat our tea to sit there and learn all the kanji, aiueo, and, you know, learn all the hiragana, whatever. But yeah, we never took it seriously. And I wish we did. I wish we could speak Japanese earlier as kids, because that would have been really nice. Could have been able to enjoy our time with our grandparents a lot more back in the day. But anyway, I'm going off track. I often do this. What was I saying? Well, yeah, I wanted to have this chance to come to Japan, and like I said, it was planned for just 6 months. So I moved out here in March 2020, and if you remember, that is when COVID-19 was properly kicking off. It was like at its proper boiling point around that time, and that's when international flights were getting cancelled all over the place. And I had planned to stay in Osaka for about 3 months with the homestay family. We had it organised. I had the money set aside and everything. I'd even been to the lady's house once I got here. About a couple of weeks after me being here, I went and visited her, and she showed me around, and it was a nice place. She was really lovely, really, really sweet. But then about 5 or 6 days after that visit, I got a message from her saying that because of COVID, this and that, she's not going to be allowed to take any guests in. So I was like, all right, shit, okay. Ooh, what shall I do then? And so I decided to stay in my hometown in Shiga, Takashima, Shiga Prefecture, Takashima City. You might not have heard of it if you don't live in Japan, but it's very, very nice. You've got Kyoto here, and then just north of Kyoto, about an hour on the train, you get to Takashima City, which is in Shiga Prefecture. Lovely place. Please, 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 if you come to Japan, if you visit, and if you come to the Kansai region, which is, you know, where Kyoto, Osaka is, please, please take a day to visit Shiga. It is a beautiful place, especially the northwestern side. That's around my area. It's beautiful, lots of lovely scenery. There's a big lake, there's a Makino sunny beach is really nice in the summer. You can go swim, kayak, lots of mountains to hike if you're into your hiking, lots of camping. That's a lovely place, really, really recommend it. But anyway, what was I saying? Again, going off track, fuck. Bear with me. Right, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pause this, I'm going to make a cup of tea, and I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to lock in, alright? Bear with me, give me one moment. Okay, and I'm back. Had a wee, made my cup of tea, got a lid on it to keep it hot, because, oh yeah, I like my tea 3 ways: Yorkshire, strong, and piping hot. So, I'm going to have a bit of this. Not off track before, so. Oh, that was nice. Every now and then I'll put a bit of sugar in my tea, just as a little treat, and I did that today, so. That is really nice. Right. Anyway, as I was saying, so because COVID-19 was all kicking off in March 2020, and I couldn't get my homestay, and I had plans to stay out in Osaka. I was gonna, you know, get a job as working in Universal Studios, because they need English-speaking staff sometimes, and I thought, oh, brilliant. And I thought I'd start boxing out there, I'd find a good gym. I had it all planned out, and then all of a sudden, poof, can't do that anymore. So I stayed in Takashima, which is where I live, north Takashima, right at the top. It's proper countryside. There's really not much to do. There's no young people, there's no one who really speaks English. It's all just like sweet little old people going to the shop, and, you know, rice fields and mountains. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. And I fell in love with the place properly. And like I said, my plan was just to be out here for 6 months initially. But then as COVID was kicking off, I thought, oh shit, maybe I might not be able to get a flight back. And so I decided to just try and settle where I was in Takashima. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get a job here and do this and that. And luckily I ended up getting a job. I was really, really, really lucky. So my mother's old schoolmate, she had a father who owned this construction company and this rice farm, and my mum put a word in for me. I was so lucky, so lucky. I didn't have to go through all the job hunting, didn't have to write CV. I was really blessed, to be honest, to be plonked in that situation at that time, in that place, and for it to just work out for me. And so yeah, I started working as a rice farmer. Just got stuck into it. I barely knew any Japanese. You know, I could say, like, I could ask a few questions, but I could barely speak it. And I was with my colleagues, and they were like being patient with me, and I respect it, because they were having to be patient with me for at least a year until I could actually gain some confidence and some fluency in the language. Because that's how long it takes, from going from about, I don't know, I would say 0, but my Japanese wasn't at 0 when I came out here. I did try and learn a few phrases here and there. Well, not much. I didn't learn how to read or write or anything. And also, with my mother being Japanese, she used to speak to me and my brother when we were babies. She would speak to us in Japanese, and so I think from then it was kind of in there. Even though we never really be able to speak or communicate in Japanese as we grew up, it was kind of in there still. So my mother's Japanese, when she would speak it, I could kind of pick up a few things. So I wasn't starting at 0, which was nice. But my Japanese proficiency was very, very, very at a low level. And it took about a year for me to pick it up, using it every day, because I was working, I think for an hour and a half to 2 hours a week on and off, I would visit this sweet little old lady that I'd met in a couple of towns down, and she would teach me some Japanese. She'd teach me the grammar, and through learning how the grammar works, and then learning and then practicing that at work throughout the week with my colleagues and stuff, I think that really leveled up my Japanese in quite a quick pace. And so I remember my mother was quite surprised, and my dad was surprised. Wow, Robin, you speaking Japanese so well already, and I could realise it. I was picking it up myself, and I think that is the best way to learn a language, is to just simply indulge yourself into it, because then you get to learn how to talk like a proper local. You know, I was picking up the way that I would speak and the way my dialect was and my accent. I was picking it up from all these construction workers in the countryside, and so when my mum would hear me speak Japanese, she'd be like, "Oh my God, Robin, your Japanese sounds horrible. You really need to clean it up. It's such a horrible Japanese. It's not polite." And I'm like, "Oh shit, it's the only Japanese that I know." And so she said, she made the joke. She said that my Japanese accent is like the equivalent of a Salford accent, or like a mixture of a Salford accent or like a really sort of Yorkshire northern like country accent, like a proper farmer's accent, because I've worked with farmers and construction workers. So it was a funny little mix of Japanese that I'd learned as a foreigner. But anyway, I'm getting off track again. Jesus. So, started out my life, and then decided when it reached that point where it was time for me to decide whether I wanted to go home or not. I didn't even think about going home. I'd literally fell in love with this place. I really loved it. I loved it. I set up my community. I had a job. I started learning how to drive out here, because I was learning how to. I was supposed to get my license back in England before coming out here. But I ended up failing the test twice. A couple of times, both times it was so bullshit. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. And yeah, let's come out here, learn how to drive, and then about a year into me being here, met this girl. You know, we got together, and then we ended up staying together for many years. It was really nice. And yeah, I set up my life quite happily in Japan. And I remember I came here still obsessed with the idea of becoming a professional boxer, but I didn't know how I could make it work, what with me living in the countryside, and there was no boxing gyms around here. And I was living out here for about two years until I finally found myself a boxing gym in a city called Tsuruga, which is in Fukui Prefecture, which is north of where I am. From where I live, it takes about 40 minutes to drive, 45 minutes to drive, and you have to go through this mountain road to get through. There's no straight motorway towards it or anything, it's just mountain roads. But yeah, I found this gym and I got myself set up. I rocked up and I said, "Hello, I've been boxing in England and I really want to become a professional." And they took me in, and we fucking went for it. And that was it then. I was then dead set on the idea of me becoming the professional boxer that I wanted to. In fact, do you know what? Somewhere I have written, when you arrive in Japan, some of you'll know this if you've come to Japan on holiday. When you arrive, after you've gone through immigration and your passport check, once you get your bags, you have to you have to fill out this card with your information, your flight details, your whether you've got duty and duty free or whatever. You have to write this card, and it says in one of the boxes, it says reason for your visit. Do you know what I find that? Bear with me, I want to find it. I think it's in here. Can't find it in there. I think it's upstairs. One sec. Aha, found it. Okay. So this was 6 years ago. Got the date written on it. Now I've got my birthday. Got the intended address. So I've written Takashima City, blah blah blah. I've wrote my grandparents' address. And here we go. Purpose of visit. Here we go. So I ticked tourism, business, visiting relatives and others, and then in brackets, I wrote this 6 years ago. Where does it say? Right there. Fulfill my dreams as a pro boxer. So that's what I wrote on my flight into Japan. That was the idea. I wanted to come out here and become a pro boxer. Just like Jorge Linares did. Those of you who are into boxing, you know who he is. He moved to Japan and he did the same thing basically. He started boxing, but yeah, he was world champion. So goodness me, that is a good cup of tea. So yeah, I wanted to make this happen, and so I got into it. I got really stuck into it, and I got obsessed with it, properly obsessed. And when I became professional in 2024, I think in July 2024, I turned professional. I passed my professional boxing exam, because there's an exam, there's like a test, a pro boxing test that you have to do in Japan. So you have to it's like a paper test, which is piss easy. It's just about some of the rules, and then you got to spar with somebody else, or two other people maybe, and then you're basically being judged on your technical ability and whether they think that you should be passed as a professional or not. And then I passed that, and then I had my first professional fight in 2024, right before my birthday in November. Won that, fantastic, yeah, great. Felt on top of the world. Had family and friends fly out to see me. It was an amazing experience. Absolutely loved it. The feeling I got from when, the fight was waved off and I'd won. And I remember, I went to the other opponent's corner. I bowed, turned around, and then I lifted my hands up and I looked out and I saw all my family, my friends, and my colleagues, and they were all just going mad. My brother was there, my dad was there. They were going wow. And that right there was the reason I wanted to fight. It was that reason right there. Just looking at all them smiling, happy faces, watching those sweet little old Japanese people who were there as well. Like, so my boss was there, and they're usually so quiet and reserved. The Japanese, they're always so like very, very quiet. They keep themselves closed. They don't make loud noises. But to see them all just go fucking wild, like going ah. Oh, that was one of the greatest feats. I'll always remember that. I hope I'll always remember that, because it was really special. And anyway, I had that opportunity. I walked out to the song that I always wanted to walk out to. I remember I told I knew a kid called Akil Johnson. If you're watching this, shout out to you. Back in high school, he asked me once. He was like, "Oh, what song would you walk out to?" And I thought, I think I'd walk out to Public Enemy, Harder Than You Think. I told him that back in like year 10, when I was like 15, 16 or something. And yeah, and so I did, walked out to that song. Fucking fantastic. Great day, fantastic. But anyway, so I've been boxing as a professional since then, 2024. And then in 2025, in April, I had my second fight. My second fight lined up, and it was actually a rematch for the first lad. And I was like, right, fuck it, let's fucking go. So ranked up the training, cranked up, and I was. When I say boxing for me, I called it a passion at the time, but now looking back and reflecting on it, it was really an addiction and a proper obsession. Now, people in the athletics world, they'll know that you have to be a bit obsessed in order to have that drive and that mindset to train every day, to wake up at 5 a.m. and go running every day, and to keep your diet locked in, and keep everything systematically on point so that you are on track so that you win, basically. Because that's the aim of the game, is the winning. You know, you only get that reaction, you only get that from your friends and family when you win. You know? Yeah, we were going for a training, and then it came to one of the last sparring sessions. It was literally a couple weeks prior to the fight. Yeah. It was... Yeah, I was sparring this lad, and we were sparring for one round. He was good, he was getting good hits on me, I was getting good hits on him. And then, right at the end of the round, he was in the corner, and I went to throw a straight right, and I don't know how the fuck it happened, but I sort of got... He sort of clinched with me as I was throwing the punch, and then it whipped out my arm like that. So instead of throwing it straight, it curved out like that, and that motion. And you can imagine when you're sparring hard, because during that part of the training camp, you have to spar hard. You got to get your system used to the fact that you're going to have hard punches coming at you, and you've got to try and hurt the other person. It wasn't like a war. We weren't trying to kill each other, but there's a time for hard sparring, and that was one of those days. So I'd thrown this straight right, and then as it twisted out, the elbow joint just popped out like that, and I could see an instant pain. I dropped to the floor. It was an instant pain. I could see this part of the bone was like sticking out like that. I was like, ah! I was telling my coach, I was like, me dear, look at this, fuck. That was horrible. And so that fight got cancelled. There was no way, because it wouldn't have healed in time. It wouldn't have. Luckily, that same day I managed to... It was maybe out of its socket for about 5-10 minutes. Felt like longer because it was really painful. Well, yeah, I managed to sort of squeeze it back in. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know how to properly pop an elbow back in. I'm sure there is a method to it. I think if you hang your arm down off a table and then have someone pull it down, maybe that's a proper way of doing it. Don't try that at home after me telling you. If you've got a detached, dislocated elbow, don't listen to me. Go to professional or whatever. Go to hospital. All right. But anyway, I just fucking just squeezed it in and popped it back in. I was like, oh, it went back in. Thought it was fixed. And then the next day, my hand, everything was swollen. I remember I took a picture of my hand. It was like all red. It was so much pain. I woke up the next morning just in tears because I thought, this is fucked. I'm not going to be able to fight. And yeah, so that was the first injury of 2025. First big break, which was my elbow. And then, fast forward, got the elbow fixed, and then I had my a new fight lined up in August, for the 3rd of August 2025. And so we started training for that. It took me a while for me to start using my right hand again, so I was at a bit of a disadvantage with my training throughout 2025 because I wasn't really throwing any punches with my right, and I was literally just practicing keeping my guard up here, keeping my guard up, and just getting my left hand strong. Yeah. But yeah, lost track of thought again. Sip of tea. But yeah, so we got this new fight confirmed. My coach asked me, like, are you ready for it? Are you ready for your fight? I was like, yeah, I want to get back in the ring. I want to get my career rolling properly. Let's get it going. Excuse me. Message on my phone. Yeah. And so we were training, we were grafting properly on anime, like, I was really, really obsessed with it, and not even in a good way. Looking back on it now, like, I really, really wanted to be I wanted to compete at the elite level in the Japanese boxing scene. I wanted to go for the Japanese belt in the future. I said to myself, give me 10 years, I'd have a belt. And yeah, so this fight comes up, and God, well, this is where the start of this transitional period of my life began, is from the day of this fight. yeah, I remember going into the fight even, I knew my right elbow wasn't at 100%. I knew it wasn't. I didn't even tell my coach that I should have done, but fucking ego or pride or whatever wanted me to carry on. I wanted to make a comeback, and I wanted to prove to myself and prove to everyone that you can bounce back from an injury like that and then win. Only after a short amount of time. Like, it was, I did my elbow in March, and then in August I was so 5 months, decent amount of time. We got it back. We were doing rehab for a long time, and I even took some time out of work because of it, because I couldn't lift anything. My job is just a labour-intensive job. It's construction work, civil engineering. I say civil engineering because it sounds smart, but it's really just fucking concrete. It's a hard graft. So that plus the farm work, it was a very labour-intensive job. So I'd be doing that for good 9-10 hours a day, and then I'd get changed at work and I'd drive straight to the gym. I'd train for 1.5, 2 hours, and I'd drive home. I'd only have about an hour and a half maybe before I wanted to get into bed. I'd cook all my stuff, I'd do all my washing. It was very much from the moment I woke up at 5 a.m. and I went for my run, it was just go, 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 go. Every moment of the day I would just think about boxing. I would think about, am I eating right? Am I staying in shape? Are my legs strong enough? Is my head mentally strong enough? I think about fighting these lads every single day. If I'd take a break at work and I was by myself, put some earphones in, I'd start shadow boxing, I'd do a bit of do some push-ups, whatever. I was properly obsessed with it. I really, really was. And not many people know this about me because I kept it quite quiet. I wasn't one of these guys who wakes up every morning and posts an Instagram story of him out for a run, hey, let's go, hey, job done, kind of thing. I was quietly just grafting by myself because I wanted to win, and part of me really wanted to be the best. Okay, I wanted to be the best boxer in Japan at my weight. And I was a bit delusional in that, but speak to any elite athlete, they'll tell you have to be a bit delusional to get to that level. You have to be, because you have to have that self-belief, and I genuinely did. I really did. I'd given myself that time frame of 10 years as a professional. I only wanted to have a 10-year career from age 24 to 34. I said by 35 I'd be retired and I'd have a belt, and that was my plan. And that plan is what I'd fucking woke up and dreamt about every single day. Okay? Anyway, so here we go. 3rd of August 2025, my second pro fight. I was fighting a lad called Shimada Nen, half Japanese, half Brazilian. I'm half Japanese, half British, so it was a good matchup. We were both strong. He had 1 win on his record, I had 1 win on my record. It was a good matchup, and bell went first round. We both just went for it, absolutely went for it. I was taking hits, he was taking hits. We were both just toe to toe, fucking going for it. There was no boxing, it was just pure fight mode, and oh man, it was intense. It was really intense. And anyway, there was at one point where he rocked me a couple of times. I got hit, boom, boom. I took the shots, I was okay still. I was throwing shots at him. And then there was an instance where we both went for a left hook, both of us at the same time. And this year, 2025, when I wasn't using my right hand, I was fucking practicing keeping my guard up this whole time, keeping my guard up. And then in the fight, fucking rookie mistake. What do? I throw my left hook and I drop my right hand. He throws his left hook, he connects first, gets me right on the chin. I think he gets me around here. I think around here, properly rocks me. Right, and I get knocked down, right, and it's a flash knockdown. For those of you who know boxing, you know what flash knockdown is, but those of you who don't, basically, you're not knocked out, you're not unconscious or anything, but when you get clipped right on the button here on the chin or here, it cuts off. For a split second, it cuts off the nerve connection from, I don't know, your legs to your brain. and your legs just go. And that's what happened with me. My legs just completely went from under me. And yeah, I ended up landing right on my left ankle. All my body weight just dropped on my left ankle. My foot position was just centimeters out of place, just not right at the good angle, and all my weight went onto the ankle, and it just fucking went like that, twisted under all my weight, and just boop. Got a trimalia fracture in my left ankle. As far as ankle breaks go, it was quite bad. 3 places. The whole like chunk of the bone, I don't know what you call the knobbly end bit of a leg bone, but like the bulge bit, that like completely snapped off, right? I had a part on the back of the bone as well that chipped off, and then the thinner bone, so in your leg you got in your shin, you got 2 bones, right? You got one thicker one and one thinner one on the outside, and the thinner one just completely broke, snapped. Anyway, it was a bad break, you know, not as worse as it could have been. You know, it wasn't piercing the skin or anything. You know, people lose their feet in other accidents, so I got off quite lightly. It was a bad break, but yeah, it wasn't anything worse. Especially, I'm just glad it wasn't my fucking head that hit the floor, all right? Because that's how people die in boxing, all right? I got off so lightly. I came out with a bit of a headache and a broken ankle, sorry. So, yeah, in a way, I'm glad that it was an ankle break, because in a way, I think the ankle broke my fall. It could have been different. I could have just whacked the back of my head. I could have been finished. Like, it happens. It's common in boxing. People lose their lives. Even last year, 2025, 2 Japanese pro boxers died. I think it was very close to when I was fighting. I think it was July, and I fought in August. Or maybe it was August. Anyway, it made the news. It made the news in Japan. It was, 2 Japanese fighters on the same card as well. 2 of them ended up dying. Not the same fight, but on the same card. But yeah, it's intense. It's a dangerous sport, and you really have to be willing to give everything. You really have to be willing to give your life for that sport, even. Yeah, there's a lot of risk. It really, really is. Anyway, so ankle breaks. Everyone's devastated. I'm devastated. I'll make another video, making a bit more in detail, because I wanted to speak. It's a big topic for me to talk about. I mean, this is going to be a long video anyway. We're already about over half an hour in. So I'll try and wrap this up, actually. But yes. So that happened, and then I spent a month in hospital, and then I started the rehab process, and it was taking a long time to heal. I don't know why. The doctor was taking x-rays, doing tests, and it was taking a while to heal. And so I was out of work, I was out of training, and I took the opportunity of me being out of work and out of training, because this was the first time in years, right, where I just had a prolonged space of free time, and it was the first time where I didn't, but I wasn't allowed to think about boxing, because I couldn't train. Whoa, it got dark, and my clothes changed colour. Nah, I had to go. Firstly, my iPad ran out of storage, so the video just cut off completely. I'm having to film on my iPad because my phone, oh my god, the phone I'm using right now, it's an iPhone SE. I've had this for like 5-6 years now. It's in pretty decent condition, just got a little bump there, but yeah, the battery is awful on it, and the camera quality is terrible, and the speaker, for some reason, every time I try and record, or when I'm on the phone to someone, there's just a constant like cracking noise. Yeah, it's no good. So I didn't want to film on this, so I filmed on my iPad instead. But then I was rambling on and on and on, and then the video got too long and my storage ran out. So I just deleted loads of stuff, and then I realised I actually had to go because it was about 12:30 when I was filming. And my boss rang me up earlier, and he asked me to come and help him at 1 o'clock. So I've been at work today, just from 1 o'clock until now. I got home about 6:30. I was just helping him out, set up one of the greenhouses on the farm. But yeah, done that, sorted. I'm back home now. Hence the change of clothes and the sweaty hair. But fuck it. Anyway, so I was saying about the ankle break. Let's get back onto it. It was the first time properly where I had the chance to just not think about boxing. Like, bear in mind, I've been at this gym for like 3 years by now. And I was just obsessed with it. It really, really just consumed my life to the point where it was taking away a lot of the enjoyment that I found from other parts of life, like just having free time on the weekends, or like, or being able to just enjoy dates with my girlfriend at the time. Because I remember one instance. This was when I was preparing for a fight. We went. It was a Sunday. It was my day off, and we went out for a little coffee date or whatever. Got some ice cream a bit of coffee and ice cream. And I remember just being sat there, and I was just kicking myself in my own head. I wasn't really being very present in the moment, and I was there kicking myself, thinking, "Oh, I mean, what are you doing having ice cream? You should be out training. You should be eating this and that. You should be running right now." And it was like, it was an infection in my mind that I just could not switch off this part of me that wanted to be the best, or like wanted to box, wanted to fight, wanted to train. And obviously from the outside, people didn't know that about me. They just thought, I was just, I was robbing, I was just getting about, working, grafting. But in my own head, it was a weird little dance or battle or something that I had. I don't know. Looking back on it, I feel like it really took away from me. It stressed me out so much, having to constantly think about the boxing. Yet I convinced myself that it was a healthy addiction. I knew I was addicted to it. I very much knew. So I was years ago back in England. I remember when I was 18 in college, second year college. I was preparing for my exams, my A levels, and I remember I wasn't revising. I was just in the back garden hitting the bag, just over and over, just every night. I wasn't revising, and I had to tell my brother. I was like, "Oh, bro, you need to help me? Like, you need to take away the carabiners, the clips that I have to hold up my punch bag in the garden." So I got my brother to hide them all from me, so that I literally couldn't hang up my bag, so I couldn't hit it anymore, so that I actually had time to revise. Anyway, it's funny. Well, yeah, I was obsessed with this idea, and now that I was in this position that I'm not boxing anymore and I'm not thinking about it, I actually had the time to just enjoy my life, like properly. Like I spent time with some friends. I went back to England, see my family. I spent Christmas there, saw my old best mate from primary school and stuff like that. And I just had a really, really, really nice time for the first time in years. And that realization of me being able to enjoy my life properly without boxing, I realized boxing it's not everything to me. It's really not. I'll always love the sport. I'll always train because I love it. I think it's the ultimate sport. It's flipping brilliant, isn't it? It's the I think fighting athletes are the most respected athletes. Nobody loses a fight and then be like, "Oh yeah, but I'd fuck you up at ping pong or basketball," like, But anyway, I'd sort of realised now, and thank God that I had this break. Like I was on the phone to my nana the other night, and I was telling her this. I was like, you know what? I'm actually so happy that I broke my ankle, and it's not just because I had this realisation, and I had this. Because if I didn't have this ankle break, then I wouldn't have had this time out, and I wouldn't have had this time to reflect properly on everything, the way I was treating my life, the way that I was treating my relationships, the way that my relationships were sort of troubled by me being so obsessed with the boxing. You know, I could have spent more time with my family and stuff like that, and I just missed out on it for that time that I was training. And for what? Like, what was I really doing it for, you know? I think to some degree, when I really think about it, part of it was quite an egotistical pursuit, because you want to be the best kind of thing. And like, I don't know, and I also thought that winning fights was the only way I could make my friends, family, or people around, people that I loved, that was the only way I could make them proud of me. And I don't know why I had this idea in my head that I had to be training and I had to win fights and then people would be proud of me. But I can just be a good human being. I can be a nice, kind person like I am. I can just be honest and just treat people well and make conversation and say hello, check up on people. And people are happy with that, especially the people that you care about. You know, I don't know, yeah. Really comes to this reality. I've had an epiphany moment these past few months. Because I broke my ankle. Well, back in March, did my elbow in. And then in August, I did my ankle. And then this was all still in 2025. And I don't know if you've heard of this idea. I don't know where it comes from, but I heard it from my brother's girlfriend. And she said, "Oh, when bad things happen, they often happen in threes." And I remember hearing that years ago. I was like, "Oh, that's interesting. I never really noticed that." And then I started to clock onto it. If something would break, like if I'd like drop a glass or something at home, sure enough, that week or even that day, I would end up breaking 2 more things. You know, I noticed it, and it's happened a few times where a bad thing happened, and then within that same month or that week, like maybe that's just my brain picking up on it because of negativity bias or whatever. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. And anyway, for 2025, I had my elbow break, and then I had my ankle break, and then in December, I think it was December 9th. I remember the date because I keep a diary every day. I write in it, I log what happened, so I think I remember the date. In December, before Christmas happened, so I was out in England. I was enjoying time with my brother, seeing my friends, seeing my family and all that. I was having a nice time. And then me and my girlfriend at the time, we were speaking on the phone, and we were having a bit of an argument, having some troubles here and there. And anyway, she ends up breaking up with me whilst I'm out in England and she's still in Japan. And oh my God, that flipping rocked me harder than any punch ever has, right? Oh my God, I think for a good 10 days, nearly 2 weeks, I was in a right state. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating. I just had this constant fucking like painful feel, like they call it heartbreak. And I've never been heartbroken before this. I didn't know what it meant. And I just thought, oh yeah, it's just when, you know, you get your heartbroken, whatever. Nah, it proper hurts in here. It really does. And yeah, I was with this girl for 5 years. 5 years. She was my first proper girlfriend, and yeah, we had a good relationship together. And it broke off quite severe. It wasn't anything hateful. Neither of us did anything horrible, like cheated. It was a matter of a few things here and there. Her thinking some things, me thinking some things, and yeah, in the end, so she broke up with me, and I was absolutely distraught, like properly. I remember, I think a week after it happened, I was just lying in bed at night, just being all upset, and I thought, you know what? One day I'm gonna get over this. One day I'll be okay with this. And so I took a picture of myself. I literally just turned my camera on there and I just took a picture of myself just so I could look back and remember what a fucking state I was in and how I looked. Anyway, it's funny. So, but nah, look at me now. I'm smiling. So it happens. It's all good. She might even be watching this right now because I know she knew that I had a YouTube channel. I don't know if she follows it or whatever, but if she is, hello, you know. Anyway, in the end, I'm so glad it happened, because she broke up with me, and then I had that sad time in England. But luckily, I was around, you know, my friends and family. You know, I didn't have to sort out any moving of her things or anything whilst, you know, in Japan. I was away. I could just relax and have a nice time, and that's exactly what I did. You know, I really took the opportunity of me not being at work and everything, and I also took this time of a heartbreak to really just open up and just be really, really true and honest to people, and, you know, especially your loved ones. You know, because it's the most important thing is your human relationships. I used to think it was fucking training and getting up early and that great feeling that you have after a run. You know, you feel like a flipping £1,000,000 when you get up early and you go for a run and then you smashed out a good time and you're back and you're like, oh, I feel great, I've got so much energy. And you're like, you feel like you're on top of the world. It felt like Rocky. But it wasn't. It was shallow. It was a shallow pursuit. Now, what really matters is your relationships with your people that are in your life. I've realised this. But yeah. So yeah, so I had Christmas. I had a lovely Christmas. Went to London, see one of my old mates. You know, I had a lovely time. I had an absolutely fantastic time. Everyone around me is so loving. I've got such good, honest, genuine, you know, proper friends. But I don't have many, you know, but you don't need many. When you've got proper tight brothers around you, that's all you need, you know. And that's exactly what I've got. So to my boys, to my brothers watching, big shout out to you. Absolutely love you, every single one of you. But yeah. So anyway, I had Christmas, and then I was due to fly back to Japan on the 28th of December. And on the day, I think it was a couple of days before I was due to fly out, my dad, who had recently retired, he retired in the November prior to that Christmas. And so he was off work as well. And he just thought, oh, you know what, Robin, you're going back on Sunday, aren't you? I was like, yeah, or whatever day. I was like, hey, you're going back, aren't you? I was like, yeah. He was like, do you mind if I join you? I was like, no, do I? And anyway, my dad joined me, and yeah, it was lovely. I had that chance to spend some time, just dad and lad time together for a month. He came out to Japan with me for a while. I think he felt a bit sorry for me, to be honest, because I'd gone through a breakup, and he could see that I wasn't coping well for the first couple of weeks of it, and I think he just felt sorry for me coming back to Japan in the cold, and me just being stuck at home with a broken foot still, you know, not really leaving the house, not doing anything. But yeah, spent some time with my dad, and yeah, that was really, really lovely. I think we really had a good chance to connect properly. Because bear in mind, he's stayed in England since I've been in Japan for the past 6 years. You know, I'd call him often, and he'd call me or whatever, and we'd keep in touch, but we haven't properly lived together for a while, and excuse me. Might edit that out. Might not. Yeah, so I had a really nice opportunity to spend some time with my dad, and then in January, my old schoolmates from high school, well, they were doing their own little trip around Asia, and they were going to Thailand, and I love Thailand, and since it's not too far from Osaka, from Kansai, where I would fly out of, it's maybe like a 6-7 hour flight. Oh god. And so I just decided, do you know what? And they were going out there for a music festival, and I thought, yeah, do you know what? Since when are my mates all over in Asia at the same time I thought, you know what? I'm just going to spend the money, and I'm going to go and see them. I had a fantastic time. Went to my first music festival, did mushrooms before going in, had a fantastic time. It was absolutely brilliant. Nana, sorry if you're watching. Yeah, but don't worry, I'm responsible. Don't worry. Yeah, had a good time, really nice. And then whilst I was in Thailand, so me and my boys, we were there for a week, right? And throughout that week, we were going to this weed cafe, and it's called Stoner Cannabis Phuket. So we're in Phuket, Thailand. Went for the 2026 Circo Loco Festival. It was top. Recommend it. But yeah, this weed cafe that we were going to every day, we became friends with the guy in there. He's called Adam. He's from Myanmar. He's absolutely brilliant. If you're in Phuket and you smoke weed, go to Stoner Cannabis Phuket. He is the top dog. He'll sort you out. Best prices, best whatever. Well, yeah, we were going there, and we'd meet up, and so his shop, Adam's shop, is upstairs, right? And downstairs is this restaurant, cafe. And so every time we were up there and I wanted to go down to go use the toilet, I'd go downstairs and I'd walk through the restaurant. And every time I went through the restaurant part, there was a girl working there, this waitress. And I'd walk past, you know, I was on my crutches still, so I'd sort of hobble past on my crutches, and I'd look at her and I'd smile, and she would look at me and she would smile back. I liked her, you know, I fancied her. And I could kind of see, I think she liked me as well. And anyway, so a few days went by, maybe 5-6 days or so. And every time I'd go downstairs, I'd see her, we'd smile, whatever. But we didn't cross words because I thought she was Thai or wherever, because I didn't know where she was from. And I didn't want to make the effort to start speaking in broken English, like get my Google Translate app. Well, yeah, I didn't really think of anything of it. I just thought she was dead sweet. I liked her, you know. And then on my last day in Phuket, I was by myself because the day prior, my mates left because they were carrying on their trip. They were going to Singapore, right? And so I had one day to myself, basically. Just to chill out, and my flight was due for 10 p.m. So I thought, oh, that's nice. I've got all day. You know, taxi to the airport only takes an hour, so I've got the day to just chill out. So I just thought, you know what, go back to Adam's shop. I'll go smoke a bit. I'll go chat to him before I leave. And then I was up there. I thought, do you know what? I want some coffee actually. And I was like, Adam, can I get a coffee from downstairs brought up? You know, because I didn't want to have to, because it was a spiral staircase, so I didn't want to have to use my crutch and hold a coffee at the same time, because I like to use the banister to pull myself up. And anyway, Adam had been talking to the girl downstairs throughout the week, and he knew that she liked me, and so he called her, and he was like, "Oh, hey, your boyfriend wants a coffee. Come get his coffee order quick." And anyway, she comes up. I'm happy to see that it's her at the door who comes through. I'm like, "Oh, hello, I just wanted a coffee, black coffee, please." And anyway, she takes my order, and then she just sits up there. And I'm like, "Oh, right, okay, cool." So we start talking, and she's absolutely lovely. She's also from Myanmar. Gorgeous girl, absolutely beautiful, so sweet. And we start talking together, and yeah, we start really getting along. And I'm sat there. I've told this to everyone. I was literally sat there talking to this girl, falling in love with her, looking at my watch, thinking, "Oh shit, I've got to go in like 2 hours. I've got to go catch my flight back home." And I'm stuck there thinking, right, what am I gonna do? I really like this girl. I really want to see her a bit more. I don't want to have to leave right now. And anyway, she goes back down because she's working downstairs. She goes back down for a bit, and then I'm sat up there thinking to myself. I'm just having a smoke or whatever. I'm thinking, sipping on my coffee, thinking. And yeah, it comes to about maybe half an hour, 20 minutes until I have to really call my taxi and get my ass back home. And she comes back up, and we start talking again, and she's like, "Oh, you got to go. That's quite sad." And I'm like, "Yeah, tell me about it. That is quite sad." And anyway, we decided on it. So I gave her a coin. I said, "You call it." I said, "You call it." And we flipped it, and then she called heads, and then sure enough landed on heads. And so I just sacked off the flight. I didn't even get on it. I missed the flight, and I stayed with her for the next few days. And and then she became my new girlfriend after that. So it's funny how life works out, really. And I've learned now that as long as you do good and you're an honest person and you're kind to everyone and you're respectful to people, you get good karma. And I've realised that you can just sort of waft your way through life and just accept whatever comes to you. You know, they say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, but no, I say when life gives you lemons, just take a fucking bite and enjoy it, all right? Because it was given to you by God, okay? So that's my lesson. And anyway, so we spent the next 3 days together. I had a lovely time. She's so sweet. And then I did end up having to go back home, and then I spent a few more days with my dad because he was still in Japan at that time, because I was only in Thailand for about a week, maybe like 8-10 days or so. And yeah, come back, spend some time with my dad, tell my dad all about it. He's happy for me, and my dad goes back home, and then I really want to see this girl. I really want to see her, and I was just thinking, so bit short on money because I've not been at work for the past 6 months, so I've not been earning a proper wage. I've been getting health insurance claim every month from Japanese health insurance. You don't get much. You get about half your usual salary, and what with me being a rice farmer and a construction labourer, obviously my salary is not great. But I can get by. The cost of living in Japan is fairly low. It's all right. I'm chilling anyway. But my health insurance payment was late by a couple of months, and so I didn't have any money. But I knew that I had an emergency fund through my dad, and I was like, I rang up my dad, and I hate asking people for money, especially my parents. I avoid it at all costs. I really don't like doing it. But this was like one time where I was in a proper situation, and I only had like a few more this month really, until I had to start going back into work and I'd start grafting again. And because when the farming season starts, I've got to start tractoring, and that's like every day 8 hours in a tractor. And I just wanted to make the most of this time that I had, this off time that I had from August. I just wanted to make the absolute most of this last little bit that I had. And I told my dad, I said, Dad, can you send me some of that emergency fund of mine? And he told me, Robin, don't be stupid. You've just met this girl, And I can understand my dad's thinking. He's probably thinking, Robin's just come out of a breakup. He don't have his head on screwed on properly. He's got rose-coloured glasses on, blah blah blah. So he told me, Robin, sleep on it, and then really think about your decision. Don't do anything stupid. But yeah, I rang him back the next day and I said, Dad, sometimes you just got to do something stupid for a girl that you really like. And that's exactly what I did. So he sent me the money so I could buy my flight over there. And I spent basically all of February. I went out on the 6th. No, not all. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I was there for 21 days. Left on the 6th and came back on the 27th, 28th, something like that. Well, yeah. So, the moral of the story is, if something brings you down in life, or something you get in life, everyone's going to reach a point where they really get put into a deep hole. And that's where I felt like I was. But I had the time, and I really just thought hard about everything. I'm a very deep thinker. I reflect a lot, and I often ruminate a lot, which people say is not a good thing, but I think you can do it in a healthy way. So if I'm home alone, or if I'm driving in the car by myself, and I'm not like listening to music or podcast or whatever, I'll often just be with my own thoughts, and I'll speak to myself. I don't know if other people do that. I'm sure other people speak to themselves, but I'll properly as I'm speaking now, I'll do this to myself, and really gives me the chance to form your thoughts in a way that make them easy to understand. If that makes sense, you might think that you can understand your thoughts anyway, but you don't often think about the way you are thinking, and that's what I like to do. God knows why, I don't know. It's just a weird thing, man. But yeah, I had this time to reflect on everything, and I realised, God, I had this idea that my life was at such a low point, but it's not. That low point there, that is your opportunity. That's your chance for your brain to get stronger, for your mind to get stronger, for your confidence to grow, for you to learn something about yourself, right? And if you're in this hole and you want to get back up here, you've got to put in the effort. You've got to climb back up. You've got to fucking climb them stairs, climb that ladder or whatever. And then what do you do from all that climbing? You gain strength. You gain mental strength. You gain mental clarity. You get so much from being in that dark point of your life, that low point, because you have to. You've got no choice. You have to bring yourself out of it. If you don't, then you're just going to wallow there in pain and start drinking and start taking drugs or whatever. You know? You have to really take control. Take that lemon, fucking grit your teeth and get on with it, right? Because grass is greener on the other side, you know? Yeah, I'm trying to find a way to wrap this up. Because that's basically been the story for the past 7 months. And now it's March the 2nd. Like I said, it marks exactly 6 years in Japan now. So I'm on my 7th year now, technically. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I know it's been a long one, but it was my first ever vlog, and I didn't realise how much I'd end up rambling on about things, and I didn't realise how much I'd go off topic. But I hope it was enjoyable. I hope you learned something from it, because I know I definitely did. And now, after having such an awful 2025, or what I thought was awful, I realised it was just a lesson. That year was for me to just grow a little bit, and I needed that. They say that when you I turned 25 in November last year, 2025, born 2000. And they say that when you reach 25, that's the age at which your brain fully forms. And I found it so funny, wow, the timing of that. You know, I just turned 25 and then I have to go through all this trouble with a heartbreak and everything and force myself to relearn everything I thought I knew about myself. I thought I had my life completely planned out in the way that I wanted to, but it turns out I was just fucking wrong. I really was. And it's nice, because now I've just got fresh lenses to look through, you know. There's this analogy, I can't remember who said it, I think I might have heard it on a Rogan podcast, but there's this analogy of taking psychedelics and they put a fresh layer of snow on your mountain, which is your mind. So imagine your mind as a mountain with ski slopes running down it, and throughout your whole life you've been making ski slopes. You've been skiing down these same thought patterns, and then those grooves then become bigger, because from the top of your mountain you find it easier to follow a groove, and then you think in the same way subconsciously. You end up thinking in these same patterns of thought, and it's very, very hard to break out of those patterns unless you're forced to, like in my instance with my breaks that I had. And so anyway, once you have this clarity of mind and this break and this time to reset, it puts a fresh layer of snow so that you can start to think in new ways and start to think in new directions. And it really does some good for your mental strength and your clarity and your positivity as well, you know. Like last year I was waking up, I was grafting every day. I thought I was pursuing what I wanted to, but I wasn't very, very happy. But now I'm so happy. I'm so glad that I broke my ankle. I'm so glad that my heart got broken. It was awful at the time, horrible feeling, but because I climbed my way out of it, it's just fantastic. And I love life now, and I love the people I've got. I've got fantastic friends, such generous, kind, loving friends and family all around me. and I'm living. Like, I hate to brag, I do, but yeah, it's good. Don't worry. If something bad happens in your life, just take it. It's a lesson for you. It really is. Even if it's something horrible, like that's, you know, it's all about growth. Okay. So yeah, when life gives you lemons, take a bite. Okay, that's me. All right. Thank you. Cheers. Bye bye.